I'm Azaria Tagaya. You're watching Nightline. Here are the top stories. MACC ready to charge Muhyiddin's son-in-law with criminal breach of trust. And Tun Abdul Mahmud laid to rest in Kuching. Good morning. Former Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin's son-in-law, Datuk Sri Muhammad Adlan Berhad, who was alleged to have left the country since May last year, is required to return to Malaysia to face several criminal breach of trust (CBT) charges. Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC's Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki said that the MACC investigations on Muhammad Adlan had been fully completed and the agency was ready to charge him in court, adding that the MACC has submitted the investigation papers for prosecution in court.
Kes tu sebenarnya dah selesai siasat dan kita dah bersedia untuk tuduh. Cuma beliau masih lagi belum dapat dikesan dan dia belum lagi kembali pada negara.
Azam said this to the media after attending the 10th convocation of the Certified Integrity Officer CEIO program at the World Trade Center on Thursday. Last October, Bukit Aman CID Chief Datuk Sri Muhammad Shuhaili Muhammad Zain confirmed that the police had officially submitted the documents required for the issuance of the Interpol Red Notice against Muhammad Adlan and his lawyer Mansur Saad. 48-year-old Muhammad Adlan and 69-year-old Mansur are being investigated by the MACC concerning misappropriation in the registration, recruitment and biometric storage of foreign workers in a ministry. Meanwhile, Azam Baki also announced that the statement of a former finance minister has been recorded to aid in the investigation of corruption allegations related to a government fleet project worth 4.5 billion ringgit. He mentioned that the former finance minister was summoned to explain the awarding of contracts for the supply and management of government vehicles to Spanco Sendirian Berhad, the sole concessionaire for supplying and maintaining government vehicles.
Tak silap saya 2021 ke 21 dan Menteri Kewangan berkenaan pada ketika itu telah pun dipanggil. Cuma mantan Perdana Menteri belum lagi dipanggil dan saya serahkan kepada pegawai penyiasat saya bila sekiranya ada keperluan untuk memanggil beliau.
The former finance minister summoned by the MACC, according to Azam, had served in the government administration from 2020 to 2021. Most recently, the anti-graft body summoned over 20 witnesses to assist in the investigation of the case on February 6th. In January, it was reported that the MACC would investigate the involvement of certain individuals in the government concerning allegations of corruption in the procurement and management of the Malaysian government's vehicle fleet. The Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on Thursday allowed an application by Hydro Shop Sendirian Berhad Managing Director Abdul Hamid Sheikh Abdul Razak Sheikh the temporary release of his passport for work trips to the US and Germany from Friday to early March. Judge Susanna Hussain granted the application and ordered the passport to be given to 50-year-old Hamid on Thursday, and it must be returned to the court on or before March 21st. On April 5th last year, Hamid and Hydro Shop were separately charged with offering 500,000 ringgit per year for 15 years to Datuk Tan Sri Lay for the benefit of the then former Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa. The money was an inducement to approve the acquisition of Menara KL by Hamids company. Hamid was ordered to surrender his passport until the disposal of the case. Former Sarawak Governor Tun Abdul Mahmud has been laid to rest with full state honours at the family cemetery in Demak Jaya after the Zohor prayers on Thursday. The funeral prayer was held at the Demak Mosque near his residence. The Sultan of Brunei, Sultan Hassan Al-Bolkiah, and his son, Pengiran Muda Abdul Mateen Bolkiah, Sarawak Governor Tun Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, and Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Oping were among the dignitaries who attended the state funeral. Earlier, Taib's remains were brought for a lying in state at the State Legislative Assembly to allow members of the public, dignitaries and cabinet members to pay their last respects.
كل نفس ذائقة الموت وإنما توفون أجوركم يوم القيامة.
The recitation of the Talqin was done by Sarawak Grand Imam Datuk Mustafa Kamal Ahmad Fauzi before the Sarawak flag, as the highest honour of the state government was presented to Abdul Taib's second wife, Tuh Puan Ragad Kurdi Taib. Taib was buried next to the grave of his first wife, Datuk Patinggi Puan Sri Laila Taib, who died of cancer on April 29, 2009. Taib, also known as the father of modern Sarawak, breathed his last at a hospital in Kuala Lumpur at 4:40 a.m. on Wednesday. The proposed amendments to the Police Act 1967 and constitutional amendments on the granting of citizenship were among the various matters discussed at the 265th meeting of the Conference of Rulers at Istana Negara. The two-day meeting also discussed the appointment of members to both the Election Commission and the Public Services Commission. The two-day meeting was chaired by the Sultan of Selangor, Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah. Given that this was the first meeting graced by the 17th Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim, the Selangor ruler also extended congratulations to the king on behalf of the conference. Also present were the Sultan of Terengganu, Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin, Sultan of Kedah, Al-Aminul Karim, Sultan Salihuddin Sultan Badli Shah, Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Shah, and Yang di-Pertuan Besar of Negeri Sembilan, Tuanku Muhriz, Tuanku Munawir. Johor was represented by Regent of Johor, Tunku Mahkota Ismail Sultan Ibrahim, Perlis by Regent of Perlis, Tuanku Said Faizuddin Putra Jamalul Lail, Pahang by Crown Prince Tengku Hassan Al-Ibrahim Alam Shah Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah, and Kelantan by Crown Prince Tengku Muhammad Fakhri Petra. The meeting was also attended by Governor of Pulau Pinang, Tun Ahmad Fuzi Abdul Razak, the Governor of Melaka, Tun Muhammad Ali Rustam, and the Governor of Sabah, Tun Juha Mahiruddin. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim was also in attendance. In a statement, Keeper of the Ruler's Seal, Tan Sri Syed Daniel Syed Ahmad, said other matters such as those involving the administration of Islam and matters under the National Council for Islamic Religious Affairs (MKI), including the appointment of its chairman, were also discussed. Syed Daniel said the Conference of Rulers also received a briefing on national security from Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein and on national defence by Chief of Defence Forces General Tan Sri Muhammad Abdul Rahman.
Dive into the pulse of Pulau Pinang's economic vision. What's the driving force behind the Pearl of the Orient's impressive growth? And what's the state's key strategies and future plans?
Join me as I will be speaking about Pulau Pinang as the investment powerhouse in this country.
This Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
Human Resources Minister Stephen Sim has issued a warning to all employers not to arbitrarily deduct workers' salaries unless stipulated under the Employment Act. He said Section 24 of the Employment Act stipulates that no deductions can be made by employers from an employee's salary except those contained within the relevant act.
Majikan tidak boleh memotong gaji seorang pekerja mengikut Seksyen 24 Akta Kerja. Kecuali potongan yang dibenarkan, contohnya untuk KWSP, caruman KWSP, caruman pekeso untuk cukai pendapatan. Ini adalah yang dibenarkan dalam akta, is very clear apa yang dibenarkan. Jadi selain daripada itu, majikan tidak boleh potong gaji, tak kiralah kedai apa, tak kira syarikat besar ataupun kecil.
He said this to the media after attending the Human Resources Ministry Kesuma Madani Chinese New Year program in Putrajaya on Thursday. Sim was commenting on the issue of a popular ramen restaurant chain in the country allegedly imposing fines on employees, including deducting their salaries for taking sick leave, going to the restroom and drinking water while on duty. He had also urged those affected by such discrimination to come forward and lodge a report with the Labour Department so that further action could be taken. He also said that if it was true that the employees involved had disciplinary issues, then these should be handled internally according to procedures that are allowed by the law. South Korean doctors vow to continue protesting. News from the foreign front when we return.
Bila harus berdiri di atas kaki sendiri?
Pada usia berapa ya kena berdikari? Isnin nanti.
Ikan bilis antara menu pembuka selera.
Nantikan pelbagai menu berasaskan ikan bilis Selasa ini.
Pura-pura bahagia, hakikatnya diri tersiksa.
Keganasan dalam rumah tangga, Rabu nanti.
Ramai yang ambil mudah masalah pedih ulu hati.
Dan apa pula kaitannya dengan masalah gastrik dan juga masalah jantung? Jangan ambil mudah.
Romantisnya diorang tu.
Tayang bahagia nampak?
Semuanya di WSHA TV3
dan stream secara HD ditonton.
Assalamualaikum. Jangan dibuang. Ayah betapa di Gunung Jerai.
Saya cemburu.
Saya tak nak kahwin dengan awak.
Kenapa semua orang benci kat aku?
Saya Chef Papa merupakan chef kegemaran seluruh rakyat Malaysia.
Can I talk to you, Menaga?
Check in untuk jenaka 5 bintang dengan Boleh Saya Bantu setiap Khamis hingga Sabtu 9 malam di Lestari TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Air mata adalah cara untuk mengungkap kisah hati. Air mata yang merindui.
Allah temukan saya dengan anak saya.
Air mata cinta yang tidak disangka.
Aku bercinta seorang-seorang.
Air mata penuh penyesalan.
Alhamdulillah.
Air mata kesyukuran.
Pasti akan ada rezeki orang lain juga.
Satu destinasi untuk semua telefilm air mata kegemaran anda hanya di Cereka Rama TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
We're back with news from the foreign front. It's another day of fiery hearings at the International Court of Justice, ICJ, as it considers the legality of Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories, with hearing from dozens of states and 3 international organizations. On day 4 of the hearing, China has called for a 2-state solution, expressing continued support for the Palestinians and their rights to engage in armed struggle against the Zionist regime, while Iran put pressure on the ICJ, describing the hearing as a turning point in the history of humanity. Iran's representative also criticized the UN Security Council for being complicit in the situation in Gaza. Ireland, in the meantime, has told the UN's top court that states are obliged to cooperate to bring an end to Israel's serious breach of its duty to respect the rights of Palestinian people. Representatives from Japan also presented their arguments on Thursday, informing the ICJ that the country supports a 2-state solution, emphasizing that it is the only viable path for both Israelis and Palestinians to coexist peacefully.
In itself was a remark to conclude.
Emergency departments at all but one of South Korea's biggest hospitals were on red alert on Thursday, 3 days into a mass walkout by trainee doctors. They vowed to continue to stay off the job in protest at government plans to increase medical school admissions to boost the healthcare sector. The Health Ministry said so far more than 8,400 doctors have joined the walkout, equivalent to about 64% of the entire resident and young doctors in the country. The ongoing protests have also led to hospitals turning away patients and cancelling procedures, raising concerns about further disruptions to the medical system if the dispute persists. Due to this, patients in South Korea have expressed growing frustration, urging the government and doctors to take a step back and resolve the issue. As the disruption persists, the government has advised patients to seek care at smaller clinics and recommended state-run and military hospitals for serious or urgent medical needs. Over in China, at least 5 people were killed when an empty cargo ship struck a bridge in southern China on Thursday. The Guangzhou Maritime Affairs Bureau said the collision also sent 5 vehicles tumbling off the bridge and either into the water or onto the ship below. The Bureau initially stated that 2 people had died and 3 people were missing. However, it was later reported that all of the 3 missing people have been found without any vital signs. The container vessel was traveling between the cities of Foshan and Guangzhou when it rammed into Lijinsha Bridge at about 5:31 a.m. local time. Authorities are currently investigating the cause of the accident. Indonesia was struck by a tornado of a scale previously unrecorded in the country, injuring at least 33 people and damaging buildings. A climatologist at a government research body said it would reconstruct and investigate the tornado after the violent winds swept the town of Sumedang in West Java province on Wednesday. It was earlier reported that the tornado impacted 4 districts in Sumedang and Bandung regencies. Indonesia's Disaster Mitigation Agency in the meantime said the injured people suffered slight injuries and have been taken to local hospitals. Tornadoes are rare in Indonesia, with most of them only occurring in the northern hemisphere. Porto sends Al Naser into after this breather.
Menarik dalam MHI sepanjang minggu ini.
Kes pertindaihan Undang-Undang Persekutuan dan Negeri ramai yang keliru. Apa kupasannya?
Kesihatan dengan ujian serangan awal cegah sebelum terlambat.
Waspada risiko kebakaran, banyak faktor keselamatan yang perlu diambil kira.
Diskusi menarik dalam soal wang bercakap tentang zakat emas.
Semua ini dan banyak lagi.
MHI Isnin hingga Jumaat 9.30 pagi di TV3.
Dan juga stream secara HD ditonton.
Kembali mengabdikan diri kepada yang satu dengan kisah-kisah tauladan Februari ini. Liang Lahat 1 Milia 2 Februari. Misteri Doa Malaikat 9 Februari. Fitnah kerana sumpah 16 Februari. Fitnah penjual keropok kulit bangkai 23 Februari. Slot naluri setiap Jumaat 3 petang hanya di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Back on Nightline with sports, football and the 2023-24 AFC Champions League. Cristiano Ronaldo guided Al Naser into the quarterfinals as the Saudi Arabian side defeated domestic rivals Al Faiha 2-0 on Thursday to progress 3-0 on aggregate. Al Naser were the better side and took the lead on 17 minutes through Portuguese winger Otávio Edmilson da Silva, who headed home from close range. Both Ronaldo and Sadio Mane wasted opportunities to score, but Al Naser still managed to completely dominate the match. With just 4 minutes remaining, Ronaldo outpaced the Al Faiha defence to score, extending his scoring streak to 8 consecutive matches and sealing the 2-0 victory 3-0 on aggregate. Al Naser will face United Arab Emirates UAE side Al Ain next for a place in the semi-final. In the other West Asian tie, 2003 champions Al Ain came from a goal behind at home to Nasaf Karshi to win 2-1 in stoppage time and seal their spot in the quarterfinals. The host side were a goal down in the 51st minute as Akmal Vladimirovich Mozgovoy tapped in Bobor Abdikolikov's corner from close range, but Kojo Laba's volley 4 minutes later levelled things up as they continued to push the visitors. 3 minutes into stoppage time, Al Ain completed their comeback when Sufyan Rahimi drilled in a powerful low shot into the near post, beating Nasaf's goalkeeper Abdul Nimatov to send them into the last 8. On to tennis, the 2024 Dubai Tennis Championships. World number 1 Iga Swiatek avenged her defeat to Elina Svitolina from Wimbledon last year with a commanding straight-set victory on Wednesday. The top seed rushed to a first-set victory 6-1 over her Ukrainian rival before finishing off the job 6-4 in the second set in 1 hour and 23 minutes. A runner-up in Dubai 12 months ago, Swiatek will face Zheng Qinwen next in the last 8. Meanwhile, US Open champion Coco Gauff snapped Karolina Pliskova's 11-match winning streak, claiming a hard-fought 2-6, 6-4, 6-3 win to reach a second consecutive Dubai quarter-final. The American teen's victory came in 1 hour, 53 minutes, and she has now won 2 of 3 head-to-head matches against Pliskova. She will face Anna Kalinskaya next in the last 8 clash. Up next, doctor claims trial to producing child porn and sexual abuse charges.
I will give $100 million to whoever gets me out of
Berita
here.
tergempar, ganjaran $100 juta untuk sesiapa yang mampu membebaskan mafia dadah paling berbahaya, Alex Montel.
Probably 50 caliber, somebody knows how to use it. Be ready for anyone and anything.
Hollywood, huh?
Kini segalanya terletak di tangan anggota unit SWAT. Jumaat ini 10 malam di TV3 Cinema dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Tapi nasib baik, saya tak pergi umrah ke, saya tak pergi pindah Dubai ke.
Awak nak ke saya panggil nama penuh awak?
Hei, awak jangan lebih. Awak kalau panggil nama penuh saya sama siapa? Nama penuh saya? Hari inilah saya jadi driver awak.
I rasa sekarang ni I macam makin jauh dari dia.
Dapat tengok laut, dapat tengok awak.
My Lovely Driver setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 7 malam di Akasia TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Bila harus berdiri di atas kaki sendiri?
Pada usia berapa ya kena berdikari? Isnin nanti.
Ikan bilis antara menu pembuka selera.
Nantikan pelbagai menu berasaskan ikan bilis Selasa ini.
Pura-pura bahagia, hakikatnya diri tersiksa.
Keganasan dalam rumah tangga, Rabu nanti.
Ramai yang ambil mudah masalah pada ulu hati.
Dan apa pula kaitannya dengan masalah gastrik dan juga masalah jantung? Jangan ambil mudah.
Romantisnya diorang tu.
Tayang bahagia nampak?
Semuanya di WShow TV3
dan stream secara HD ditonton.
Thanks for staying with us. In Kedah, a soldier died while 5 others were injured after a military truck was involved in an accident at Jalan Kampung Bukit Kecil in Changlun on Thursday. Kubang Pasu Deputy Police Chief, Deputy Superintendent Chien Chun Sao said the 1:30 p.m. incident occurred when a 29-year-old soldier from the 5th Border Regiment camp in Bukit Kayu Hitam was driving from the Territorial Army camp in Kepala Batas towards the 30th Brigade headquarters in Bukit Kauda Camp, Perlis. The military truck is believed to have veered off to avoid an unidentified car moving in the opposite direction. The vehicle lost control and fell into the oil palm plantation on the left side of the road, causing the truck to overturn. As a result of the accident, one of the 5 rear passengers suffered fatal injuries at the scene and his body was sent to the Jitra Hospital for post-mortem. The injured victims were sent to Hospital Sultanah Bahia Alostar for treatment. A Terengganu doctor has pleaded not guilty at the Kaman Sessions Court to 6 charges of committing sexual abuse and producing pornography involving 6 children who were also his patients. 32-year-old Dr. Anas Ramli was charged with 5 counts of producing pornographic pictures of 5 children aged between 7 and 11 while on duty at the Kaman Hospital between December 2022 and February 2023. The accused claimed trial after the charges were read to him before Judge Wan Suhaila Muhammad. The charges were framed under Sections 5 and 16 subsection 1 of the Sexual Offences Against Children Act. He was also accused of sexually assaulting a 12-year-old in a treatment room at the hospital on February 8th last year. For this offence, he is charged under Sections 14 subsection A and 16 subsection 1 subsection A of the same Act. The accused was released on bail of 30,000 ringgit with 1 shorty. In a separate hearing at the Kamaman Magistrates Court, the doctor also pleaded not guilty to a charge of possessing pornography. The offence was allegedly committed on November 1st, 2022 at the Kamaman Hospital's operating theatre. The magistrate allowed bail of 3,500 ringgit with 1 shorty, and he has also been ordered not to approach the victims and witnesses until the conclusion of the case. Both courts scheduled March 21st for the submission of documents by the prosecution. Police in Sarawak have launched a manhunt for a group of men who were seen brandishing long swords and sharp weapons during an argument in a public car park in Kuching recently. Padawan District Police Chief Superintendent Abang Zainal Abidin Abang Ahmad said police have formed a special task force to track down the individuals involved. A video recording of the incident was uploaded on social media and has been widely circulated since Wednesday. The 23-second clip shows the group engaged in a heated dispute at a parking space believed to be in Jalan Batu Kawa, with some brandishing dangerous objects. Several individuals suspected to be among those in the video have already been identified, and police are currently tracking down the suspects, with several arrests expected to be carried out soon. The case is being investigated under Section 6, subsection 1 of the Corrosive and Explosive Substances and Offensive Weapons Act. If convicted, the offender can be sentenced up to a maximum of 10 years in prison. The Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on Thursday discharged and released a former lorry driver of mischief charge related to the torching of 34 motorcycles in the parking lot of the Kampung Muhibah People's Housing Project (PPR) in Bukit Jalil 2 years ago. Judge Nurina Zainul Abidin reached the verdict after concluding that the prosecution had failed to prove a prima facie against the 36-year-old Muhammad Saiful Adi Muhammad Noor at the end of the prosecution's case. The trial commenced on October 5th last year with 5 prosecution witnesses called to testify. On September 30th, 2022, Muhammad Saiful pleaded not guilty to a charge of committing mischief by using petrol to torch 34 motorcycles in the parking lot of Block G of the Kampung Muhibah PPR flats at 2:21 a.m. on July 2022. He was charged under the Penal Code, which carries a maximum sentence of 14 years imprisonment and a fine upon conviction. The Pulau Pinang Customs Department has seized over 361,000 cans of beer worth more than 6 million ringgit. The seizure was made at North Port in Port Klang, Selangor during 3 separate operations held recently. The department's Pulau Pinang director, Roslan Ramli, said it was found that the contents of the containers were falsely declared. The first seizure on January 31st was done following a check on 2 containers declared to contain aluminium flakes, but later found to be containing more than 100,000 cans of beer worth more than 263,000 ringgit, with duties worth more than 1.71 million ringgit. A second operation carried out the same day found 4 containers declared as copper alloy, but containing more than 202,000 cans of beer with more than 561,000 ringgit, with duties worth 3.45 million ringgit. The third seizure was conducted on February 7th and involved 1 container containing more than 52,000 cans of beer, estimated to be worth 144,000 ringgit, with taxes totaling more than 1 million ringgit. Roslan said the goods are suspected to have originated from an East Asian country and were handled by separate companies, and a suspect in his 30s has since been detained. The case is being investigated under the Customs Act and the Excise Act. As we wrap this time around, let's take a look as 2 friends in Western France built a 16-metre-high replica of the Eiffel Tower from recycled wood, which they hope to display along the path of the 2024 Summer Olympic Torch Relay and at Olympic sites. I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.